What you know, Lyle?
Not much, Paul. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing good. Hey, we talked about doing the outdoor show, and of course, we're not doing them live, and we're editing them, doing them on our own time, so I don't have to be here every single time. But I figured that with Catfish Weekly, what a better opportunity is to start with you and talking about Catfish Weekly and how it's doing, and your rod business. Kind of like to know a little bit how that's going too. But I guess first thing I've seen, you've been getting a lot of guests on Catfish Weekly. Bill Dance, wow.
Yeah, Bill was a hoot. We had talked with George Young. He's got a really big tournament coming up this fall called Mississippi River Monsters at Memphis, and Bill has been a big part of that. He's trying to get the I don't know if he's what his position is exactly with George and them guys, but he's promoting the crap out of this. And Bill's an old-time cat fisherman, and him and George have become great friends through catfishing with each other. And when they decided they wanted to do this, Bill's name and his clout in the fishing industry made it a very doable situation. And the first week they started taking entries, it was over a year before the tournament was going to be in progress, and the first week they had over 100 boats entered, at $250 an entry fee. So I have to think that has something to do with Bill, and I look for it to be the biggest catfishing tournament ever the first time out of the box. So I know they're promoting it really well, and having Bill on the show. Of course, you know how the shows work. We get them on, guest on before the show starts and go over stuff that they want to discuss and stuff that we want to talk about. And he was just a hoot, and he's got some of the greatest people that work for him. So everything is extremely professional with that whole organization, and you can't ask for anybody better. But we've had a lot of good guests on Catfish Weekly in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of different things going. I do a little bit of the web deal over there, so I get a chance to see them, and I know that you got something coming up. What is it, Catfish Convention or something?
Yeah, Steve Douglas got a hold of me when this idea come to him and wanted to know if we'd be a part of it and maybe come down and have a booth with the rods and do a live Catfish Weekly show out there and interview people. And we got to talking about it, and the more I thought about it, it was one of the greatest ideas to bring everybody in the catfishing sport in one place in the wintertime when, as a general rule, the biggest part of the United States you're not able to get out and do much fishing in February. Now that's about the time it starts breaking up and people start getting antsy, but a lot of people winterize their boats and put them up for the winter and things like that. So everybody's going to be ready to roll, and in just a very short time, they completely filled the venue where they're having it there at Jeff's Marine. It was completely full of people wanting to have booths and stuff, and of course they're going to have some of the big guys do seminars and things like that. But I forgot whether it was 800 or 1,000 tickets that and this is free of charge now, and that's the really good part about it. Anybody that can drive down and make the trip, it doesn't cost you anything to get in there. But this is going to be an annual event. I think it's going to be one of the greatest things for the sport of catfishing that there is. You'll have the professional guys, as some people call them, in catfishing. They will be there, and anybody can go up and ask them any kind of question they want. And they can go to these seminars and see Larry Muse and and visit with the guys that are doing them. And there's several others. There's several guys doing seminars, and they can go down there, and if these guys know how to talk to you, if you're on a beginning level, or if you are not a competitive fisherman and you want information on going out to your local lake or a river system and finding out what will work and what they use at certain times of year and what rigs they use. And these guys will tell you. They're all very good about that. And of course, on our booth, we'll have stuff set up there where you can look at rods, and we're going to do the Catfish Weekly show out there. And several of the guys that are affiliated with us through other things will be there and help us do different things. We're going to have Heath Malone is going to be there. I'm not sure Jason's going to make it, but Heath's going to make it down there, and he'll help us do interviews so we can get a break. We're going to try to run an hour at a whack, and then how they upload to YouTube. A lot of people don't know how that works, but after the show is shut down, then it loads itself up, and it takes a little while. And then we start another one. But having that'll give Chuck and I a chance to get out and have a drink and whatever outside and breath of fresh air, and then Heath can interview a few of them, and we'll be back in, and we're just going to swap it around. I know a lot of the guys that my pro staff people will be there and helping with us. So if you have a question about a rod and I'm tied up doing an interview or something, then them guys will be able to help anybody out. And that's the whole ticket behind it, is making it good for everybody.
And that's one thing. I've seen a lot of people bury the hatchet and coming together for the sport, where it was a little clicks here and there. It's like everybody's finally coming together, burying the hatchet, and bringing this convention that I think is going to be huge.
I agree with you, Paul. And for years, you was either in this clique or this clique, and if this guy got mad at you, well, nobody in that group would have anything to do with you. And it went on for several years, and we know where that stemmed from and why it was like that. And when that issue kind of got off the social media thing and has kind of vanished, things have really gotten a lot better. I don't know the number because I haven't paid any attention, but my Facebook friends list and the number of people that we have on Catfish Weekly, just on Facebook is really gotten big, and some of the people that I struggled to agree with, or they struggled to agree with me throughout the years, that's all changed now, and we talk on the phone and we send messages back and forth, and it's one of the great things that has happened to our catfishing industry, because people are working together more now, and I think the reason that is so important is because it's advancing catfishing, and I don't know that it will ever get up to where bass fishing is, but we're gaining ground every day. That's like you and I. When we met, we kind of hit it off right off the bat, but the longer we was involved with each other, the closer we got, and now we talk nearly every day.
Yeah. At least if I'm up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really come a long ways. And I think we've had to look at the situation, the way things were going, and the only way that it was going to get big and recover is by just like I said, burying the hatchet, and that's what a lot of us have done, and like I said, I'm surprised at a lot of the people that you've had on Catfish Weekly. That's really exploded, and I've kind of been watching the Facebook page and the friends list grow, or the likes and the group invites or requests and all that. So I think it's heading in the plus direction really fast.
Oh, I do too, and I hope that Catfish Weekly has been a small part of that. Now, a lot of things that people forget about, and you've been on the show here recently with us and help us with it immensely, and people never never realize all the stuff behind the scenes that you still do for us. But you are the originator of the show, and a lot of people, especially new people to the show, they don't realize that. And Chuck and I talk about that every once in a while, just to make everybody understand that where we come from and how we got where we're at. And we appreciate all you do for us, but people forget about those things, and they don't understand that things come up, and people's view of how they want things to go, and things change, and it kind of comes and goes. But I really think that Catfish Weekly has made an impact on a lot of the people new to the sport, and I have gotten phone calls from truck drivers, and they say, hey, I don't know what's going on, but we don't have any new podcasts for us to listen to while we're driving down the road. Though you haven't uploaded any for some time, and that's when some changes was being made to the show, and that's when I had to get a hold of you, because I didn't know how to do it, and pretty soon they're calling back up and say, oh my gosh, man, some of the greatest shows you guys have ever done. And thank you for uploading them, and it has worked really good.
What is that? Over 78,000 views or plays or something, I think is what I read last time. Right?
There were 75 or something the last time I looked, or right at it, and that's been some time ago. But I never, in my wildest dream, would have thought that we would have had 40,000 views on YouTube, and no telling how many watch us on Google that we can't monitor at all. And some of the shows on Catfish Weekly that watch us through the shows are, I don't know, 400 or 500 sometimes. And it's mind-boggling to me. But that tells me that there is a need for that, and people want to hear about things, and they trust these guys that are doing well in tournaments, because they do well so often that if they tell them something, they take it to heart. And them guys are not going to tell them anything that's not true. They're all honest and good and above board. And
you're going to go out there and throw a bunch of liver up for blues.
Right. And even beginners know that that's not going to happen. And that's exactly right. And, Larry come up with his rig that he uses when he's dragging bait, and Steve calls it a dragon tail. It's probably as good a name for it as you could have possibly put on it. I called it the Larry Muse rig, but every time I look at one, I say, that's what it should be called. It should be called the dragon tail. And it's a plastic tube that they pour shot in. They seal both ends of it, and it keeps your bait from getting hung up as bad, and it'll go over top of stuff. And I can't imagine anybody but Larry Muse sharing that information. He did it on Catfish Weekly, and then Steve done a video with him down at Monsters on the Ohio, and it was a great show. Both of them was, and that's what makes the catfishing separates that from the other fishing venues. Because I promise you, if them bass guys could come up with something that worked that good where they didn't lose them fishing plugs, they're not going to tell the next guy. No. They're going to hold that in there. They're not going to share that information, but Larry was good enough to do it with us. And we've had some other guys talk about rigs that they use that work really good and stuff. But I have yet to use it, but I am very anxious to use it because I know it's going to work great.
Right. And just to get, just to clarify, I'm not competing with Catfish or anything like that. Our thing is I'm no schedule. I was having problems with the scheduling thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, there's no issues with that.
We're not competing or anything like that.
So. No. And I'm glad that you're doing this, because there's room for you to be in here as well. And like I say, like you said, you're not on a schedule this way. You can do it when you want to, and you can interview who you want to. And if I say something I shouldn't, you can cut it out or whatever, and that works out really well that way.
Yeah, cut out the 4-letter ones and whatever.
Yeah, because you know me, I'm liable to slip one up once in a while.
Yeah,
when Chris was on the show with us a couple times, he done that, and you can't edit it out of a live show. And I have done it all, so I'm not saying he's the only one that done it, but Chris slipped up a couple times and his face had turned real red, and he knew instantly when it happened that it was a mistake, but by then it was too late, and he said, I'm sorry. And that's all you can do on a live deal. You can't cut it out or beep it or anything like that. But it was, we thought it was funny and we talked about it and nobody got mad about it. It's just, that's life and that's part of doing the live thing.
Let's see, a few rods behind you, working pretty hard on the rods.
Oh, we're staying pretty busy, at least as busy or busier than I want to be. I do, as you know, I'm up late nearly every night in the middle of the night working on rods and stuff, trying to get them done as quickly as I can. And most people understand that when you order a rod, it's custom built from the beginning to the end, and it takes longer than just walking on the shelf and picking up a production product. But some of these guys, when they call up, they have some of the most unique requests that is out there, and we try to do them all. I have two right here that are split grips, and on the back end of them is rattlesnake skin that has been tanned and been applied to the blank. And I think the top one, I believe that top one has, right now, it's got 13 coats of clear over top of it, and that's epoxy finish, slow dry epoxy. And the bottom one, I'm not quite as far along with it. I think it's got 8. But what I'm doing is getting the roughness out of that snake skin to where it's a smooth thing. But that guy Doug knew exactly what he wanted for him and his son's bumping rods. And, of course, they're wrapped now, and the finish is on them, and it's probably going to end up taking close to 20 coats to make them smooth, and then that stuff will set in there and it'll look real deep, like a car, a real well painted show car or something is how that'll look. And that's pretty neat to be able to do stuff like that. And for a long time we didn't do I quit doing a lot of the fancy stuff because I didn't have time to do it. But something like that, when he's talked to me about that, I was pretty intrigued with that. But yeah, we stay pretty busy and try to get as many done as we can and get them as quick as we can. It seems like orders come in pretty frequently, and I enjoy doing it. And I've told you this before, but as long as I enjoy it, I'll continue to do it. And it's just like anything else. When it ceases to be fun, that's when I'll quit. But I would like to think I could do it for another 10 years.
I know. We usually sit and talk 2 and 3 hours between drying time.
Yeah, usually about 4 hours. And I everything I do pretty much sets a 24-hour period, or at least overnight. If I put a coat of finish on it, I won't touch it again till in the morning or sometime tomorrow afternoon. That way the next coat is far enough along that it won't cause me any issues. And I don't like fish eyes, and when they leave here, I want them to look as good as make them.
Do you spray those or do you dip them?
No, neither one actually, Paul. They go on with a brush, and I spin the rods and put the finish epoxy, and it's thick. It's probably the consistency of honey, and if you wait too long, it gets heavier and heavier and harder to put on. So you have to, once you start, you got to go on, and a lot of times people will call me or send messages, and once I start on one, putting finish on, I wait until I'm all the way done with it, and then I clean my stuff up, and then I'll return calls and different things. And but yeah, it's fairly thick, and you put it on. You can't put it on too thin, but you just have to learn what it takes to do it. But we do those, and then I put them on there and let them spin overnight or all day until they set up. Because if you don't, then it'll sag off, and as you see how that's set up, one of them will sag off and it'll hit every one below it. So you can't have that happening either.
Kind of spin it like one of them honey things.
Well, it used to be in the old days. See, I started doing this back in the 80s. 84, I think, is when I done the first couple. And in them days, I didn't have the lathes and stuff. And you've been to my house, so you know what I'm talking about. We cut V's like this in a box, like a big shoe box or something. and you'd put the rod up there, and when you wrap it, you turn it by hand, and to tension the thread, you'd run it through a book, and if it wasn't tight enough, you put another book on it, another book on it, another book on it, until you got enough tension to where it was tight enough when you wrap that thread on them. And I've done them like that, you know, when I first started, and it's a far cry from where I done them now.
Now you recently moved from Bowling Green.
Yes.
Yes. Moved where?
Buffalo, Missouri. We Cindy and I grew up in Bowling Green, and after we was married and had families, you know, we went to the places that people offered me the most money for what I done, and we went into business for ourselves, and we tried that in Bowling Green. It just didn't work out really well there. We ended up in Springfield, Missouri for 25 years, and I sold that and went to working on handicap vans for a long time, and hurt my shoulder, and my mother got really bad, and we tried to take care of her, and we stayed up there in the Bowling Green area for several years, trying to do as much for her as we could, and when she ended up in the nursing home, and we had four grandsons down here, and a granddaughter on the way up there, actually 5 grandsons down here. She wanted to be closer to them, so we come down here, and we're kind of central area around all of the grandchildren, and except my granddaughter, and you know, she can go watch the ball games or go see them in their school events or whatever it is that we need to do, and that's what she wanted to do, and she'd done anything else that I'd want to do, and we're close to the lake, so we can go fishing, and it just worked out.
Yeah, you don't have any big rivers around you, do you?
No, the Osage is probably the biggest river in southwest Missouri, and it is one of the main rivers that make up Truman Lake and Lake Ozark, and it then runs through them, and it's dammed up twice, and then dumps into the Mississippi or the Missouri River just below Jefferson City.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it, and I think I got enough to do with what I need to do. You want to give a shout out real quick for anything, or?
There's a lot of people that has helped us, like you has helped us tremendously with Catfish Weekly. Vince Roger done wonderful things for me for a long time, doing pictures and images and stuff on my Blackhorse Rod Facebook page. He's a very talented man. He's not going to be doing them anymore, and I really hate that, but he's very, very good at what he does. We have a lot of sponsors and stuff, but if you guys are interested in Blackhorse Rods, just check us out on Facebook or go to blackhorserods customrods.com, and there's pictures and information, and you guys can get a hold of me and through Facebook or email, or give me a call sometime if I can help you with anything. But the biggest thing that I can say is I'm glad that you're doing this. I think it's going to be a great venue. It give you time to make sure of the people that you want to have on the show, and edit it out and do it at your own time. And I think it'll work out really good for you.
Yeah, it's really different to be back talking, and I kind of get distracted a little bit, and I'll get over that